Hey, there we go. All right, I'll start this off right this time. So, good morning, everybody, and welcome to COVID and Coffee Morning Check-In. Yeah, 9 o'clock, COVID and coffee. Actually, I got my coffee. I just finished microwaving it. It's all heated up. We did percolate a coffee this morning. Anyways, we're going to be working on the DragBug. This is actually episode, 15? So that means I've literally done 16 or 17 episodes. I even went back in a couple of the episodes and realized that I did a double episode and didn't realize it. So if anybody knows what episode that actually was where I basically named it the same number, go ahead and leave a comment below. Anyways, like I said, welcome to COVID and Coffee. We're going to be working on the DragBug. So the DragBug is a conversion vehicle. It's a Red Cat Racing Tornado EXP Pro. I don't know what Pro means. Other than I think Pro possibly was that it was a brushless version. I don't really think there was anything that made it Pro other than that. Maybe that's what makes it a Pro. I don't know. Maybe like a top fuel alcohol dragster versus a vet. I have no idea. But yeah, we had a couple of issues with the burnout box, and I'm keeping the main structure of the burnout box, but what I am going to do is I am going to keep the main structure because obviously that works, but I am going to change the baseboard or base plate, the area that we're trying to do the actual burnout on. It was a fail for a number of reasons why, and it's funny how sometimes the mind doesn't think, like when you're, like you're amped up, you're trying to rush, you're trying to get things. I thought to myself there was a piece of plywood to grab, but I didn't grab it because within my garage it was too difficult to grab because of where it's located. It's actually, behind a couple of things, and I just was like, I'll just grab this beadboard. I'll use the back side of it, and should work mint. Well, apparently it didn't work mint because of a couple of things. I added water to it, number one, the heat and the eventual traction of the vehicle. So the water softened up the material while it gave the tires, a way to slip, because we know that these, weak ESCs, that when they encounter a certain amount of resistance, obviously we've seen with some of those, if it's not a censored system, you'll get the cogging. So when you're over gearing or you put massive tires on something, you start to get that cogging. And what it is I know you guys all know this. It's the fact that the motor the communication between the motor and the ESC, it's like it's in between poles or something. So it doesn't know where it is, where a censored system effectively tells the ESC, it communicates with the motor and says this is the position the motor is, and just whatever. I'm not going to get into the electronics or the technical aspect of it because I don't claim to be any kind of guru. But I almost want to challenge you guys. So I am going to eventually do a burnout challenge. Obviously, my submission, you could keep it as a submission to the burnout challenge. And I think I need to do it more properly, more introduce the burnout challenge in order for it to be an actual challenge. I got to plug in my iPad here because I don't even know if I'm really live. How about if I check that? Hey, look at that.
If your roof is over 7 years old, you may qualify for a unique metal roofing opportunity.
What the
Watch
heck is that? Metal roof?
Details.
Now, I want Black Rifle Company back. Gotta get some good coffee videos or some drone stuff. Let's skip that. There we go. Oh, so it is live. All right, so I don't even know where I was in the conversation now. I forget where I was. I get distracted just way too easily. Yeah, I don't even remember what I was talking about. So I guess what do they say? Enough blab. And got a couple of things on the deck here. Kind of waiting for a response from Reckless Hobbies in Wareham. Need to find out if they're open today. Sean, Guy, Kevin, anybody? Anybody out there? Does anybody know if Reckless Hobbies is actually open today? Because I'd like to know. Because I need to get stuff done. I need to get stuff going. And the only way that that's going to happen is with a local hobby store. That's right. A local hobby store. Isn't that something that's kind of lost nowadays? Everybody's ordering stuff online. Makes it easy. You don't have to leave the house. You don't have to go outside and get the COVID. But if you don't support your local hobby store, yeah, times like these when you actually need a part and takes like 6 weeks to get something now, where's the best place to go? The best place is to support your local hobby store. Not only in these times, but after this. So after all this garbage is done, remember to support your shops. Remember to support the mom and pop stores. Don't just go always running to Walmart. Yeah, you may pay $1 more for something, but it's only $1. You know? Just, yeah. All right, let's get into this thing here. Good morning, everybody. All right, so hopefully everybody can see what's going on here. Still messing around with the camera angle stuff and all that good stuff. But I've got a couple of ideas. But obviously, you know, like what I want to do first is I want to do like, you know, the check-in and see how everybody's doing. I got a couple of things on this deck here to hopefully assist with a couple of things. So obviously burnout challenge. Oh, now I know what I was talking about. See, sometimes it takes a little bit of thinking to figure out, at least for me, I get so distracted. My mind is always going 100 miles an hour that I've got so many things that are just going on that, you know, I may start talking about something and then like I get distracted, like squirrel. You know, yeah, I know you heard squirrel. But yes, I almost forgot. So I almost want to do like, maybe it's not a challenge, but because I was literally having such a blast with this thing right here, right? Because I am having a blast with it, I almost want to challenge you guys out there to recreate. Take something, I mean, and yeah, do a drag car build because it's fun. I mean, it might not be like, you know, how I say everybody's cup of tea, but and drag racing has always been, you know, something that I liked anyway, but still taking a vehicle that was a 4-wheel drive, which is all kinds of parts in the battery tray, taking something that was a 4-wheel drive vehicle and then slowly converting it into a drag car, you're also going to learn a lot of things about your RC. So, and you could probably find videos out there that, you know, if you're not familiar with how to take something apart, you could probably find a video that, you know, shows you how to take apart a differential or take apart some suspension. Or there was even a guy that I don't know if it was on my Facebook group or if it was on another one. It might have been on another one. But what happened was the guy bought a brand new servo saver like configuration, right? I think it was like aluminum. And what he did was he just did the thing where he took apart his old one, like just took it completely apart. He didn't take pictures, he didn't film anything, and there's no instructions. And I'm assuming maybe he didn't have like instructions that had some kind of like exploded view to show him how things go together, because, you know, we all know that if we buy a used vehicle, you know, you have no idea, number one, what happened to that vehicle, and number two, if you don't have any exploded views and you don't have a good working knowledge of taking these things apart, you might get lost. So what happened is the guy got lost. But what was cool was he was able to just say, hey, I bought some new aluminum, you know, parts, but I did a dumb thing and I took my old one apart without taking pictures, so I have no idea what goes where. And I guess there was like a bushing or something that was in question. And I think even how it was like taken apart, like he point blank didn't remember. And somebody was kind enough to take pictures and put it out there. So yeah, so I kind of challenging you guys to take something that you've already got and mod it. And of course, I'm gonna say mod it into a drag car because, well, I mean, come on, because of DragBug. You know what I mean? Why not? You know, if you've never done any drag racing before, I mean, I never have, but I'm slowly realizing, learning, taking some of the very limited knowledge that I have of drag racing. When I say limited, it's limited. Not like I'm in some unlimited class of drag racing, but I do have a working knowledge of how things work. And with this car, it's why I try to explain that what I'm doing, taking this car, is I'm literally taking it from stock. I'm not modding it before I change like things out, meaning like adjusting the toe and camber. I left it alone. I knew that there possibly might be issues, but why not try it? Why not learn? Why not, take something that has excessive camber and then go, oh, well, maybe if I flatten out the tires, we'll get a flatter contact patch, which is all the stuff I already know. But maybe somebody else out there doesn't, and seeing maybe the examples of we probably did gain. Granted, it probably wasn't really noticeable by the human eye, and I didn't have like any launch like clock, or I didn't have anything on the car that showed that it possibly gained a little bit more traction. But I mean, yeah, it's yeah, if you have the tire flat, of course there's going to be more traction. I know this. I know all about camber and toe and all that other good stuff. But it's the whole process of just doing it and just getting out there and ripping it. So my challenge to you guys, not only is it going to be a burnout challenge, which, yeah, still working on that. I just got to change one thing and we're good to go. Well, actually, no, that's not true. That's why we're doing this episode, because it's more than one thing that we got to change. See what I mean? But my face was literally, it was hurting from smiling and laughing. There's so much like, when I did the video, there's so much laughing that I edited out because you didn't need to hear me laughing like every 5 seconds. But I was having such a good time. Like, I mean, when that body, like, because obviously I didn't pin it on that second run. I didn't, it was the second run, right? Yeah, on that second run, I didn't pin the body on the first and second run, but because of the car, slapping, it eventually broke the body free. And when it was doing that, like, I was laughing my head off because I couldn't believe like what was happening. And somebody had made the comment that, while it was a fail, they liked, forget how exactly they said it, but they liked the show, that it was funny. It's something that, entertainment. At least it was entertainment. And that's kind of how I saw it. And that's why I put the video out there. Yeah, I'm doing a burnout challenge and I failed. You know what I mean? But throw it out there, whatever. If you guys do a burnout challenge, who cares how many videos you put out there and say, this is the RC Guy Garage Burnout Challenge. Put a couple of videos out there. Just say, hey, I failed. This is why I failed. Give yourself some content. You know what I mean? People might want to see, like, wow, why did it fail? Oh, it failed because you were an idiot? All right, enough talking. I'm gonna jump into the comments here, like I try to usually do. And like I said, I gotta get my coffee. Oh, it's actually not that bad. This is freshly perked coffee from, like, I don't know, 6 o'clock. And it's now been freshly nuka-waved. So, I don't know. I think when you nuka-wave coffee, it does something to it. It doesn't all taste all that great. Anyways, all right. So let's just jump into the comments here. What do I like to use? Whoa, there's like 1,000 comments. All right. So like I say, who was first? You know, have you ever seen that movie? Well, not a movie. It's The Three Stooges. Who's on first? If you haven't seen that episode of The Three Stooges, go watch it. All right. So we've got, hey, that's actually a pretty good idea for a name. So the first person in the chat today, which was at 8:50, and that was Shade Tree RC. Now that's actually a pretty good name because there was that show called The Shade. Is it The Shady Tree Mechanic? Maybe that wasn't it. It was Shade Tree Mechanic. I remember that show. We got Jerry VRC was second. Ronnie Willis was third. And, Foundry is here too. What's going on, guy? Good morning. RC Sick is here. Who else? Jerry VRC, I think I said that. My ear is still blocked. RC Sick is here. What's going on, guy? Let's see. Wow, you guys were like killing the chat. And when I first started, which I started at what? I started at 9. So who was the first comment like literally at 9? Wow, a double. So Shade Tree RC, at least on my end, was the first comment at 9 o'clock when this first started. That's actually pretty cool. Obviously, it was probably, coincidence, but it's still funny. All right. Just Orange is here. What's going on, guy? You got the kaiju and you're loving it? Nice. Yeah, nothing's perfect. Vince Vargas, good morning, guy. Asterian, hello. What's going on, guy? Chad Hartsley, good morning to you as well. Michael Dyke is here. Michael Tybalt, because I don't think the H is pronounced, correct? Good morning. I think I've got that right. And then, let's see. I think that's it. Well, at least that's all that's talking, I believe. Logan's RCs is here too. What's going on, guy? Kurt's RC. Did I say Kurt's already? I don't even know. I might have. You guys are like exploding the chat. Holy smoke. Charlie is here. What's going on, guy? Demo RC. Did I say that already? I don't even know. Let's see. RC Master. Just make sure you kind of keep it, go easy, guy. We're trying to keep a, kind of trying to keep some friendly content here. Will's Hobby Bullet. What's going on? How are you this morning? We've got Justin O'Neill. Hello to you. And I think we are there. Shade Tree, Sam, here. China. All right. So anyways, let's get into this. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to COVID and Coffee Morning Check-In, episode 15. Working on the DragBug. All right. Now move this kind of out of the way. We'll roll this bad boy in here. So first thing I wanted to show you is just, you got to know what happened. We blew off 5 teeth. I know I called it gears, but it's just the way I talk. So we blew off 5 teeth. I'm not positive. At least I suspect. Okay, this is my suspicion. Well, this is what I think happened. I think the gears may have, because of speed and breakage, they possibly balled up, and that's what shifted the motor away. So obviously we had, teeth breakage on the gear. And my assumption is they kind of must have balled up in a spot just for a split second, like a microsecond, and then shifted the motor out of the way, which is great because it caused there to be 0 damage on the spur, which I was very, very happy with. Yeah. So, it's funny. All right. Let's get a tray here. Got to get my trays out here. Very, very thankful to my wife for being very patient about things. And letting me use, dishes that belong for other things. So these dishes are basically what I use as my parts trays. And they're perfect because, well, they're white. So all the pieces, show up a heck of a lot easier than they do like even in something that's a magnetic tray. So these are great. These little dishes are great. Scuffy Page, what's going on, guy? Infamous RC, what's happening, man? Cal's Arma RC Adventures and Vlogs. Holy. Now that is a long title. Good morning to you. So what do you guys think, though? You guys interested in doing some type of conversion build? Maybe turning something into a drag car or whatever? I'm having an absolute blast. And this is, I want to say, this is a fairly cheap maybe entry into it because I bought it for obviously another purpose, ripped it for a while as in its stock form, and then realized that, holy smokes, this could actually maybe be something. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. Couple of thoughts that I had. So obviously we have hoons on the rear, and what's crazy is how very free spinning this has become. It's going to be a good thing to kind of get into this diff, and that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to get into the differential. We're going to see what's going on. I'm going to check the spur gear. Obviously, the spur gear is a much harder metal than pinion was. The pinion, I'm obviously assuming, was probably that pot metal or whatever it was to keep costs down. I mean, it did its job. It lasted, but it just couldn't take the punishment of what this thing was. I just was doing stuff to it that you shouldn't. These hoons, in case you don't already know, these hoons are literally stuck on here with hairspray. So, yeah, these are hairspray hoons. We also are going to, for the Burnout Challenge, I am going to take a file, and I'm going to just redress these tires because this stuff, because of the heat and the moisture and whatever, it really impacted all of that junk onto the tires. And you can see when it stopped, it was actually stopped just like this. So when it finally came, to a halt, yeah. So we're going to take apart this differential, just inspect the gears. Sounds like everything is fine, but it'll be good to get in there anyway. And I am going to lock this diff. Initially, I had said that, well, I've got this, technically I now have this spare diff. I'll just take this and I'll lock this. Well, I'm kind of deciding to not do that because throughout this process, if I need parts from this one, I mean, it's a fully working diff. If I need parts from it, why lock a brand new diff up that was the front that probably was, I don't know, I think these will probably use fairly evenly. But why lock up a diff that's totally, mint? Why not lock one up that I just, diffed out? If that makes sense to you, you know what I mean? Coffee's cooking. James George, what's going on, guy? Somebody else is here. Dion Potiger? No, Pog Eater. Dion DragBug Eater. I'll probably destroy your name. I'm sorry. I'll just call you Dion. Can it even do a burnout? It can. It's just I messed up. I was trying to create something, and I basically destroyed the base material, the substrate. So by doing that, yeah, that's what happened. And then obviously we blew out a pinion. But it did start to smoke. I think it was either the very end of the first try or the middle of the second try or something around there. I remember seeing smoke. So it will do a burnout. It's just gonna need some help, you know. The other thing I want to do is I want to show you too. I'm gonna take these wheels off right now, just so I can show you, some of my thoughts or ideas or whatever's going on in my head. So these are obviously going to be, burnout wheels, okay? And eventually I do want to get, I guess, proper with this thing. I want to get actual drag pieces because, it'll be nice to have like a set of actual drag tires. Change out this 12 millimeter hex for a 14 because guess what? I guess the drag wheels are 14, or maybe if I get a Traxxas one, maybe it's a 12. I don't know. But these are plastic hexes, so I'm not sure if I should switch these out to a metal. I'm thinking maybe not, because having the plastic might give it a little bit of maybe kind of cushion. So I had a couple of thoughts in mind. So yes, while these DB Boots Hoons were something that I thought, would be good for, a burnout, and I thought it would be good for grabbing traction. It's not there. It's not enough. Because there's obviously something missing. But what I don't think that some of the guys out here, I don't think you saw what I was potentially seeing in my head. While we have no sidewall, right? We don't really have a sidewall on this side. It's basically just the thick part of the rubber actually just contacting and glued to the rim. Yes? Yeah, they're all right. Oh, yeah. By the way, no, I'm not going to put you on camera. Don't worry.
I was like, jeez.
By the way, when you say, like, goodbye to your wife in the morning and, you want to maybe give her a kiss or whatever, and don't take your glasses off and leave them on the stairs and forget that they're there. Because what will happen is, at some point, you may either be going up or down the stairs and you'll step on your glasses. Yeah, that actually happened this morning. I stepped on my glasses. And they crunched. And amazingly, I have no idea. I literally used my Harbor Freight tool, and I was amazingly I was able to bend them back into place. And I know they're actually still a little cranked.
Are they?
Yeah. They're like got a permanent like tilt like this now. I couldn't take it out because it was too close to the lens. Ah.
It's okay.
So just don't take your glasses off and put them on the stairs, and just don't even put them on the stairs. That was dumb. Yes?
So last night I had a weird dream.
Yeah.
I was trying to save a bird that had gone into, I don't know, someone's car.
Yeah.
But in our driveway. I don't know, it was like hurt or something, so I was trying to like get it out to like bring it in the house. It was just like a wing.
Yeah.
And so I had gotten it out, but then it tried to get away from me.
Yeah.
So then I like had stepped, where the stone, it was like exactly how our house is, where the stone wall is. I stepped next to one of the bushes, and I don't know why, but like Peter was there and he said, Sam, there are a ton of snakes over there.
Yeah.
And I felt absolutely no fear because I'm like not scared.
No, I know
you
you like snakes anyway.
So I was like, yeah, no, it's fine. And I looked down and I could see that there was a snake next to my foot. I was like, it was like a little guy, so
Yeah.
whatever.
You know why you had that dream? Did you have that dream because of those owls?
I don't know. Well, no.
No.
It was different.
Yeah.
It was a different type of snake. And then I was so focused on the bird because somehow, even though it had a broken wing, it was flying back to the car.
Yeah.
And I went to go step away, and I felt it.
It bit you?
It got bit.
You got bited?
On my toe.
Nice.
And, like, it was really weird because I was trying to, like, act like it didn't hurt because I didn't want anyone to, like, hurt the snake.
Yeah.
But, like, it was so painful in my dream
Yeah.
that when I woke up
Yeah.
and I went to the bathroom,
Yeah.
I felt like
You felt like there was still a bite?
I felt like there was something on my toe.
Oh my God,
Like,
that's awesome.
I felt pain. It was so weird.
That's how your brain works. That's crazy. All right, so kind of just to get back to what I was saying about how this was thought of, okay? Obviously, I just did it as kind of like a test fit, kind of joke, but not really. Amazingly, it actually slid in and compressed. But the thought was that even though I didn't have any sidewall flex, I didn't have any, like twist grip, like when you watch drag racing, when the power is applied, obviously, to the hub or the wheel, when it first initially cranks, the traction or the tread has a tendency to want to kind of, stick to the pavement, and then the sidewall will give it, I guess, that twisting flex, kind of like kind of almost like a recoil. It kind of softens the hit, right? I don't know if you've ever watched drag racing, but it softens the hit or softens the blow, right? Well, my thought was, because I was putting a tire and technically a foam, slipping it inside the wheel, my thought was, because this wheel is independent of this rim, I was thinking, is it possible that this could give enough flexibility? It was just my thought. I had no idea whether if it was going to work or not. Obviously, it didn't. Obviously, changing the camber on it definitely made it hook up a little bit better. But it was just a thought. It's like you gotta like try stuff in order to know whether if it's going to work or not. And obviously, it was a fail. So yeah, slipping a tire inside a tire, at least for this application, it doesn't work. But amazingly, this still will work for a burnout tire. So I have no idea how this is running so true. Like when you spin this thing spins. I mean, I can't show you like because of my fingers. This thing spins pretty damn straight. I mean, for a burnout wheel, I think it's absolutely perfect. Even with the way this thing rolls, the rolling resistance, at least that this vehicle has now because we have half drivetrain, we've lost 50% of drivetrain drag. So it's crazy. So, here's my thought, right? My thought is, let's get you down. You don't need to look at me. So my thought is, these are my crawler tires off of my Habao DC1. And these are actually really soft. So I was wondering, would using this tire and wheel combination just as a test, is this something that might hook up better? Because when you touch, I mean, look at when you touch this wheel, you get sidewall flex. So is it possible that this, I mean, look, watch when you load it up, right? Because it's called loading it up. So if you load up this tire, it actually does shift. Like, I know I'm not showing you right, but because I can't grab the rim. But there actually is the slightest amount of sidewall like twist. So I'm actually going to try these out because it's something that I already have. And we already know these ones just don't hook up enough. And then obviously throttle control because of how I'm launching. I'm just launching literally full trigger. But That's what this drag bug is all about. This drag bug is literally just about testing things out, taking you guys along for the ride of trial and error, and mostly error. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like this is a possibility, and there's not going to be any interference with, like, here. I'll throw it on real quick. We'll leave the other side on. We'll throw this side on, just so you can see the difference. And that's what the difference would be. I know it makes it almost look more like a kind of almost makes it look like a tractor pull vehicle, and that's not what we're going for. But what I'm going for is the fact that this is a softer compound tire. It definitely has a lot more sidewall flex to it. So the hope is that this will hook up. And I don't know if it will. Hopefully it does. But it's just a thought. All right, I'm just going to jump into the chat. Usually, like, something I've kind of, like, realized was that sometimes people are talking to me, but most of the time you're not. So I think unless I see, like, one of those things that, has, like, there'll be, like, if somebody does, like, the @ symbol and my name on it, that way I know you're actually talking to me. So, yeah, because there's no way in heck that I am going to be able to read. Big Muscle RC guy, what's going on? I just noticed you're here. I think we're about the same people here in the chat. Now, wait a minute. Coach is here. What's going on, guy? Life of Coach, did you change your name? Do you have two names? I think I already said Vince Vargas, right? Pretty sure I said hello. I don't see anybody else that's here other than noticing that Life of Coach was here. Did I say Ronnie Willis? I don't remember. Dude, this COVID really has affected my brain. I think it ate some cells or something. Infamous RC is here too. Okay. Logan's RC. I think I said Logan was here. I don't know. All right. Anyways, you kind of get like what I'm saying. So this is the thought. We're going to try these wheels right here for a couple of test hits, just trying to hook this up. But the other thing too is I want to possibly also change the front. So let's just get this wheel on. Well, actually, no. We're going to leave that wheel. I'm going to just take that wheel off. I'm going to pop this one off as well because we are going to get to the diff. And I just kind of want things out of the way for now. Some Kent's RC, somebody that you could possibly ask, which he's not in the chat right now, in my opinion, would be Chef Beardsley. Because Chef Beardsley, he's into those Savages. So he might be someone that you might want to, although you're asking about electric, though. You want to convert it to electric. What motor should I see? I don't know, man. I don't know the weights of the vehicles. Sometimes the stuff you need to think about is the overall weight of the vehicle per motor / ESC, so that it's at least capable of pushing the weight. That's something that people forget about, or maybe just don't even know. Logan's RC. Thank you for subscribing, man. I just got the notification right now. Cal's Arma RC Adventures. You commented on something, but it's not telling me what you commented on. That's sometimes why I don't like these notifications. They'll say like the name, but they don't say what the heck it's about. All right. I think because your name is so huge that it won't let me see what it is. But yeah, anyways, I want to get into this diff first. We'll lay out some paper towel here, just in case there's any grease or oil. We don't want to get it. We don't want to get it on the counter. So we already relieved this brace. This brace is it's relieved of duty for now, and I want to pop off this piece right here, which that's the wrong. Is that a Phillips? See, that's the thing too about the Red Cat. This is an older Red Cat, so it uses a combination of Phillips and Hex or Allen. So sometimes you have to grab like a Phillips to take some of this stuff apart. But I just wanted to kind of release that. That way I can hopefully slip out this whole rear end, because right now what I want to do is I just want to pop out this whole rear end thing as a unit. And I don't want to mess with the front right now. But we got a couple of screws that we need to take off. Effectively, it's the two back screws right here, which hold on this little micro bumper, and I think those little hinge pins. So I'll pop that off. Somebody had also commented, like, how do you get out screws that have been ground down so bad? Couple of different ways. Sometimes the quick and dirty or easy way is to cut a slot in it with a Dremel, and that way you can turn it into one of these right here. You can turn it into a regular screwdriver and take it out. And then the other thing would be to get a small easy out. And then also sometimes, you know, you might have to go as far as drilling it out. But somebody had asked. I don't even know if the question was posed to me or what, but come on. Also, make sure you dig out your screws. That's what this little pick set is for. Because sometimes you get like rocks and debris, and there's actually stuff in there, I think. The other thing too is like when you have these kind of screws, sometimes you can do just what I'm doing right here, and you can take a pick, and sometimes the edges actually get folded over to the inside to where what if I use a Phillips? Maybe that will actually work. The edges ended up kind of getting folded over in because of the way the material drags across the screw. It'll fold some of the material inside, which will make it so it's hard to get out. So we're going to use one of our parts trays right here. Put all our screws in there. It definitely is easier to get a driver. So I'm going to just pick these out real quick just to make sure that there's no issue. But like I said, it's easier just to go ahead and get yourself like a driver. Just make sure that if you're using one of these drivers, just be really careful on installation, because you can definitely over torque stuff. And make sure obviously you're going the right way too. Now after this last screw, I believe this whole thing should just like drop off the chassis. So I'm just going to kind of hold it in place. I don't think there's anything else that's holding this in. Yeah, there we go. All right, I think that's it. No, I'm wrong. So I'm kind of right but wrong. Can I get it to slide off? I think I might have to take this motor plate off, because of the way that the spur goes in, it might be locked on this side to where I can't pull that out. So there should be a set, there's a set screw right there on that front drive cup. So I'm going to pop that out. We'll see if that will release the front side here. So see, pull that little cup off. The this section may have just stopped it from going backwards. Because I'm trying to take this off as a unit. And did it work? I can't tell. Looks like it's close. Seems like something else is stopping it. All right, so instead of like breaking stuff, I'm gonna take off my center brace. I didn't want to take this off, but I want to see visually what's going on, why that piece is not popping off like I thought it should. Gus's Custom Creations. What's going on, guy? So there we go. Pop that out of there. Get the antenna tube out of the way. Take off our little center brace here. I wonder if that's supposed to have that bend like that. Probably is. Yeah, it actually is because the diff is actually bent. But it's still a little tacky from the thread lock, which that just goes to show you. It's a good idea to use thread lock on plastic as well. I always have. When I've come into, issues, I've always used thread lock on plastic because it helps. It keeps things tacky, sticky, whatever. All right. So now if I take, now if I undo, I don't want to take the whole motor with me, but yeah. All right. Well, for now, I think it's just too close to where it's just not allowing it to pop out. Obviously because it rides on a bearing. So, the tolerances just probably are not allowing me to pull this whole unit out like I was hoping that it would. So I'm going to go after the motor plate, and it's these 3 screws that are on the bottom here. We'll just quickly dig them out because I've never had this apart. Whoa, that's what you don't want to do. Don't want to strip these bad boys out. I wasn't putting enough pressure on it. All right, so there we go. Now we can remove that. Now check that out. Now it slides off. And it is actually a bearing too. I wasn't positive. Maybe that's part of it being a pro, was that it has bearing surfaces. Now you can see, check that out. There was a boulder in there. Holy smokes, there's a couple of boulders in there. That's a boulder. When you want to talk about an RC, think about scale. That's a boulder. All right. So, yeah, pretty much the suspension stays together. I just want to take the shock tower off because once I release the shock tower, which it should only be 4 screws. So once I release that shock tower off of the diff, obviously the diff will pop out. So, and it does look like obviously it's Phillips screws. Wish it wasn't. I wish it was just Allen's. What's weird, right? So there's Allens that hold the shock tower onto the differential and also keep the top half of the differential closed. But then these screws that keep the wing on, these are metric Allen. How does that How does that make sense? Why do they do that? Why don't they just stick with the metric gallons and get away from this Phillips garbage? Well, actually, you know what? I think I can do it right here. So if I type the @ symbol, I think you have to type the name exactly right. So oops. The @ symbol, and then RONNIE space WILLIZ. Does that actually work? Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if that works. Did I spell it wrong? I did. I even spelled your name wrong, guy. RONNIEWILLIZ. Let's see if that works. I don't even know if it's working, guy. I'm probably doing it wrong. On my end, I can't even tell. But it should pop up as a colored box if it worked right. Yeah, there you go, Shade Tree. Have someone post Chef's channel. Hold on, I can do it right now. Oh, how do I do it? Is it at? Oops. Gus's Custom Creations could probably do it way faster than me. At I hope that's right. I think that's right. I don't even know. Maybe it can't post a link though, can I? You just have to look up Chef Beardsley. It's very easy to do. His background is it's basically his face. I think he's in his shed, and he's got like crossed eyes. And then his little thumbnail is like weirdly like a baby picture of him, kind of, but like a fake baby picture. If that makes sense. I wish he was just on. That way, you know, it would just make it easier. Yeah, Gus actually did it. Oh, did you? Gus, were you able to do it? Am I able to click that? Yeah, I can. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Thank you, Gus. Thank you very much. All right, so now I pulled those 4 screws out of there. We should be able to just pull this diff right out of here. Get that shock tower out of the way. Get these. There we go. Look at that. And we can even maybe clean this thing up too while we're at it. Paper towel is definitely a friend here. Now, this I had noticed was missing an E-clip. So we are actually missing 1 E-clip on this thing. Not that it really matters because it's not going to go anywhere, but you've got to kind of keep an eye on stuff like that. So Red Cat used E-clips to keep these pins in. There we go. Nice and clean. Now I can just set that aside. I check these bearings too. So I'll probably, while I've got this out, the bearings actually feel mint, but just because of what I'm doing to this car and because you're already taking it apart, you take it this far, you might as well just pop these hexes off, take the pins out, and then just check the bearings, clean it out, maybe put like a drop of oil in it, because this thing was primarily ripped in sand, light water and dirt. So you know there's contaminants that are probably, you know, could be cleaned out, you know. So we'll just set this unit aside for now. You can see obviously in the chassis, look at all the junk that's in the chassis too. So I'm going to clean that out while we're here. I mean, it's no longer a dirt bug. Might as well get the dirt out. There is a bearing that's obviously in this motor plate for the for that shaft, and I think that's pressed in there. I don't think it's one way, right? It's just pressed in flat. No, it is one way. All right. So obviously it goes in this way. So I'll just kind of leave that like that. I want to just check the bearing real quick. All I do is I just take needle nose, stab it into the hole of the bearing, and give it a spin just to see how free it is. Yeah, it's mint. So while I've got it open right now, all right, I'm going to sit it like this. I'm going to take some lube. I'm going to put a drop of oil just like that. And that way it will get inside and keep that bearing nicely lubricated. I'm just going to leave it tipped up just like that. Move the car out of the way here. All right. Where's Earl? So we're just going to clean up a couple things, you know, clean up the dog bones, get any junk off of them. Take our little paper towel tray here, empty it out in the trash. Start off with a clean slate here. I'm going to pop open this diff. So this spur gear is actually held on with an E-clip. So before we pop this apart, because there is still one screw holding this together, I do want to take this thing and clean it up. Even though we're going to be cleaning it up anyway, it's just good practice to kind of clean stuff, you know, as you go. Why introduce more crud material into something if you don't have to? Good enough. All right. Let's get you down low here. Get you maybe zoomed in a little bit. Something like that, maybe. Running out of room here. All right, I'm just gonna jump on chat just real quick. I didn't see my name anywhere. Joe Daddy's Garage, what's happening? Avenge ERC, what's going on, guy? What? Wait a minute. Cable guy just showed up and they are cutting your internet? What do you mean they're cutting your internet? Gus, what do you mean that they're like cutting you off? They're cutting my internet? Hopefully you mean they're fixing your internet, not cutting it. All right. We've been here before, so one thing I want to check is I want to make sure that my I want to make sure I don't lose the little O-rings that are supposed to be in here. And it looks like there isn't an O-ring in there. Did I already lose them? And there's no O-ring on that side either. All right. Did I throw them away? Did I literally throw them in the trash? Well, I don't see anything. But there's supposed to be little O-rings in here. And for some reason, let's see, I'm going to show you what they look like. They're these little O-rings right here. So I'll probably take the ones that were in the front, and I'll just use these ones that were in the front. All it does is just stops dog bone chatter. So I've got 2 of them, so I'll just use those up. We still had one, I think, stuck to this right there. So see, there's one right there. So we'll take that. We'll use those 2 O-rings. That will stop the chatter. What you could do is you could always take like a small small tubing, as long as it was obviously the size of the center here. And then, you know, as long as it's pretty much this size right here for this. Right, like that. So. So it'll be interesting to know what's going on inside this diff. From it diffing out so severely like it did doing the burnout, what does the grease look like? Because you obviously know once you stop one side in an open differential like that, the other side hugely spins. It basically doubles the speed. The diff actually feels still feels like smooth. Doesn't feel like there's any issues, but we're just going to take that one screw right there. We're going to open this up. We're going to take out the parts. Let's go jump on the chat right here real quick because obviously I can't see nothing. Yeah, I think we pretty much burned up the grease that was inside of here. Oh my God. Yeah, so, yeah, we definitely did. So, ripping it. I just got grease on my nose because I was smelling it. I can actually smell the grease has a little bit of a metal content in it right now. And that's just because of how, see the black? See the difference? So you've got the black stuff in there. So we're going to be cleaning this completely. I'm going to be throwing my real good grease in this. Once we, fix this. I'm going to take this apart. We're going to check out the insides. I'm now really interested in knowing what's going on with the inside here. Here, this is called liquid. This is liquid metal right here. See the black? The black is liquid metal. So while things still feel good, it's definitely a good idea right now. Watch out for that shim. I don't know what side that shim was on. Looks like it may have been here. The shim was on there somewhere. Looks like it was on this side. So it looks like the shim was actually shimming the bearing away from the ring gear. So we're going to clean all this up right now. We'll turn it back into a nice shiny piece of metal. We're going to clean up these bearings as well. And I am going to what I call oil bath these for now, because these are just a shielded bearing. Actually, are you serious? There's no way that this is a shielded and sealed. That's probably just dirt. Let's just get this out of there. If this is literally a sealed and shielded bearing, that'll be crazy. It is. Are you kidding me? Red Cat. Wow. What? There's no way you guys actually did that. Really? Nah, that's just dirt. It literally looked like this was a shielded side, and then the opposite side was a sealed side. That would be nuts. See how it's black? That almost looks like it's a... Wow, the bearing feels mint. This bearing actually feels great. So I'm going to clean these up with a solvent. I'm going to dunk these. I'm going to get any kind of grit or material that's in there. I don't believe... See, my eyes can't... I can't tell if that's liquid metal or what. It might be just my eyes. Well, anyways, we'll put these bearings in the juice. What is that? What is this? Is that part of the inside of the bearing? It is. See that right there? That goes inside of here. Wait a minute. Is this bearing just junk? Nah, that's a shim. All right, so that is a shim. Somehow the inner ring came off. I'm assuming this side. So we're going to take that and we're going to put that back into place. Oh, just lost it. If these bearings are bad, I will replace them. But that ring should just go right back into place in there, provided that is what it is. Yeah, that's it. All right, so we're good. So literally, I was able to somehow I picked out with my pick the actual retainer. So that's why it looked like it was black. I was able to pick out the retainer somehow by accident. But that bearing actually feels really mint. So we're good there. We know that there was a shim on this side, so you just got to keep that in mind. There is no shim on the other side, but look at that bearing. Look at how junky that looks. That looks pretty rough. So that needs to be cleaned, definitely. Let's give it a spin. Surprisingly, no grit. Ronnie Willis, can you pack a sealed bearing? Yes. If dirt can get in there, you can right. Well, yeah, I've done it. I actually did a video on it. I did a video of taking apart. Well, not taking apart, but I took the seals off, the sealed bearing. You just pick out the seals with a razor blade. Just be very careful picking it out. And then I used carb cleaner. So you carb cleaner the bearings. It's best to use like a blowgun on very like low pressure, or you know how they have those cans of air? Use like a can of air and just very carefully blow out any grit or debris that's in there. Wash it out, a second time or whatever. Put it on something so that you can actually spin the bearing and feel its condition. Like feeling the condition of this, I'm literally amazed at how much this thing has ripped, that this bearing feels absolutely mint. So these bearings that Red Cat, at least for me in this Tornado, the bearings that they put in this car actually are pretty good. To survive what I just did and to literally have no issue, I'm just going to oil bath these. Yeah, I'm definitely just going to oil bath these. I don't even think I'm going to clean them out. They feel that good. I'm not feeling any grit whatsoever in these bearings. That's insane. There's nothing. There's no grit. That's nuts. All right, so those bearings are pretty mint. Continue the cleaning process here. So now, look at how small those Phillips screws are. I might have to get my precision kit because I don't want to strip those. Those things are tiny. So there should be a gasket. Whoops. There should be a gasket that's obviously in between this ring gear and the diff housing. Surprisingly, everything looks really, really good. Like even the drive cups, even the cups are showing like, I almost want to say like minimal to no wear. There is a very slight amount, but for how I've driven this thing, these parts are actually pretty good. Now make sure you wear gloves. You see all the black in there? Make sure you wear gloves when you do this kind of stuff. You don't want to get, all this grease and contaminants and all this junk all over you. Plus, it helps with the cleanup process. So make sure you wear gloves. See all that black in there? That right there is wear from the ring and pinion gear. All that blackness right there. That's liquid metal. In case you didn't know. You want to make sure that you really clean all the junk out of these differential cases or housings. Whoa! Gone forever. Gone forever just means that it fell on the ground. Floor, ground, whatever. All right, so I'm pretty sure we're clean in there. So something that I'm noticing right away that I don't like. This is kind of odd here. Can you see that? See that hole? Why is there a hole in my differential? Like, seriously, why is there a hole in my diff? That's not cool. It's almost like that hole is supposed to be filled with a screw. So this would be for a sway bar at some point, if for some reason you're going to put a sway bar on here. That's what that groove is for. It's for the wire. And obviously this would be capped off and somehow screwed together. But that's messed up how my diff has a hole in it. Now, when you put the grease in here, it's really not going to matter because the grease should stop the grease should stop anything from entering in, but I think that's just kind of funny right there, that there's a hole in there. I don't know. Yo, what's going on, guy? I didn't even know you were here. How are you this morning? Oh, yeah, and zippy tie. Zippy tie the braces. You know it, man. Zippy tie, brother. There is a little E-clip in there that I'm just going to pop off real quick. Just going to use my pick and kind of cover the area so the E-clip doesn't, like, fly off. There we go. All right. I said so it doesn't fly off. I don't even know where it went. Here we go. So I want to make sure there's no, like, shims or anything there. Now we're good. Gonna pick out the bearing. Not the bearing. Pick out the gear. We'll check that out. Got the bearings in there. I am gonna just pop the bearings so that I can clean them up. And I will use... Where's my flat blade? Oh, right here. Just very carefully pop these out. And is that a shoulder bearing? No, it's not. So we'll check out these bearings as well. These are also a shielded bearing. And there is a shim there. Which way was that little shim? Did I not notice that? So there was a shim that popped out too. That most likely... Where did that shim come from? Should be from the inside. I'm assuming, but we'll check it out, whether if it could be from the inside or the outside. It should be from the inside, but I'd have to watch. I literally would have to watch the footage, and I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to guess. So I will end up hitting this with some carb or brake clean. So obviously because it's a metal gear and I just want to make sure I get all the garbage that's inside where these gear teeth are. I just want to make sure it's totally clean. Set that aside. This one isn't going to be a problem. I'll take like a blade, razor blade, and I'll just clean out these gears real quick. We'll give it a little touch right now with this. But looks like we're good. Looks like this one's actually in great shape, so I don't think we're going to have an issue with this. Obviously, this gear is, I'm assuming, a better gear than the pinion. Needed to have something that was going to break away, and obviously we know it broke away. So this is the outer bearing. I'm really hoping that this shim was for this right here, which usually it is. So I do believe that shim is actually for that. We'll set that aside. This is the outer bearing. I'm going to check the outer bearing real quick. I got to tell you, and I'm being serious, with what I've put this little Red Cat through, Red Cat must have scored on these bearings because I'm not coming across any issues with these bearings. So we still have an inner bearing to kind of pop out. I'm going to see if there's any kind of anything in there, like a shim. Nope, doesn't look like it. Pop this bearing out. So make sure you're very careful when you do this, that you don't deform the race. So I'm going to put this in here, and I'm just going to very carefully punch it through, just like that. Not the race, but the seals or whatever. Clean this out of here. Now see all that black? That's liquid bearing right there. And that's normal. Now the grease that we're going to put in it is going to be a little bit better. It's a synthetic grease that I'm putting in. It's automotive synthetic, which I feel is definitely going to, for every diff case that I've pulled apart, that's what I use. Every diff case gets my synthetic lube. Shims are a must. They definitely are. Caribbean Mafia. What's going on, guy? You have never been here before. What's happening with you? Or at least maybe you've been here, but you've never commented before. So do the same thing. We'll check this one. I am not finding one issue with any of these bearings. I'm amazed. They're very, I mean, granted, I'm not putting like I'm not putting a dial indicator on it, but wow. Like, seriously. Red Cat, I don't know how you guys did it, but you definitely scored on these bearings. And I know you're watching. So sometimes you can take a Q-tip and do the same thing, but just paper towels. Just use these like Earl says. These things right now, these are bars of silver. Paper towels are silver and rolls of toilet paper are gold. So I'm just going to take a, wrap it just like that. Get it right inside of there. Get any of the junk out of there. Run it through the bearing pocket. Clean out the outside of the case. Spin it up. Clean out the outside little bearing pocket. Not that it really needs it. It's probably fine. And I'm almost satisfied with that. You got toilet paper factory clothes? Caribbean Mafia? That's a riot. That's awesome. You're lucky. I thought all toilet paper was made overseas. That's what they make you feel like. We actually never had a problem. I'm out of America's hometown, Massachusetts, and we literally didn't have any issues. So these gear cases, these are all set, or these diff cases, that's all nice and cleaned. Now what we're going to do is grab another paper towel. Make sure you don't lose your E-clip, because that's what's going to hold your pinion gear onto your shaft for the ring gear. So we're going to bust this thing open. This thing is all set. We're going to get rid of this paper towel, or this piece of gold here. We'll start over fresh. We'll slide in another piece of silver here. And very, very small screws. You might want to get one of those precision screwdriver sets. I am going to attempt to use the driver that I've got, but I do have a precision screwdriver set that's really designed for screws that are this tiny. But not everybody has that, so I will, attempt to use what I've got. Now, it's just going into plastic, so it should be fine. Oh, mint. These are actually really loose. Yeah, those are wicked loose. All right, so no issue. Some reason I was thinking that they might be a little bit more locked up than they were, and they weren't. So 4 screws on the back side of this ring gear. Now, I did hear some grit. Wow, what? Red Cat, is literally knocking it out of the park with this thing. Now, I'm not seeing a gasket yet. But that's also not necessarily a bad thing, because let's see if there's a gasket here. Little O-ring or a gasket or something. There's actually a shoulder. And this actually has plenty. This has plenty of differential fluid in here. For what this is, it's not like you need... Now, people get, confused, right? It's not like you're supposed to have this thing leveled off to the top with diff fluid. This is actually a very good amount of diff fluid in here. Not that any of this matters, because we are going to be blowing this apart. We are going to be locking this thing up. So I'm going to clean all this differential fluid out of here. But very surprisingly, the amount of diff fluid that's in here, that's actually really good. And like I said, even not having a gasket, which I got to check this side. Even not having a gasket isn't really a bad thing. Only reason being, right, is you're supposed to maintain these anyway. You know what I mean? You're supposed to, you're supposed to maintenance them. You're supposed to take them apart. You're supposed to get rid of all the liquid metal that eventually happens just from gears meshing. Very, very clean. Like wicked, wicked surprised. Check this side. That is pretty crazy. I am very, very, very surprised here. Wow. So obviously this was, that was on that side. So there was a shim on that side as well. So at least we know where our shims are coming from. Got to pay attention more to that. My opinion, they actually really did use, they used the right amount of fluid in here. But we're going to be locking up this differential anyway, so none of that matters. And we're actually going to be locking it up in a semi-safe manner. So popping out that little E-clip. Just be very careful because these things do have a tendency sometimes to launch, especially when you're taking them off. Put that right there. We'll pop off this gear. There should be a shim underneath here. Here we go. So do we have a shim on this side? Look at that. Nice little sealed. Okay, so doesn't feel like any shim on there. But that is actually up against the gasket, the little O-ring that's on the diff housing. So there you go. So there's one of your dog bone cups. I'm going to pop out this little gear right here. There should be a shim under here. Is there a shim? Yep, right there. Is it? Oh, maybe not. Feels like there is. Yeah, there we go. So there's your little shim right there. You never know. You never know with Red Cat sometimes. But I'm very shocked. I feel very shocked about this. What I'm pulling apart here. I'm actually pulling apart like pretty good parts. Chef Beardsley, Guy, what's going on? Somebody was looking for you earlier. Wanted to ask you questions about your Savage. And I just point blank said he's the guy that you probably want to ask. Because he knows a thing or two. He knows a thing or two because he's seen a thing or two. So he might have subscribed to your channel because Gus was able to put a link to your channel. So obviously, like, what should happen is we do have tiny little O-ring here to seal out debris going inside and also as a double seal. And then another tiny little O-ring right here, same exact size. We're going to clean all this up. I will, again, I'll degrease this just with some brake clean or carburetor cleaner. Doesn't really matter what you use. Yes, converting to electric. Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe you could help, based upon if you think like the drivetrain can handle the absolute monstrous power of an electric system. Because, nitro versus electric guy. Come on. Tesla versus Prius. Hi, sweetie. So this is pretty much all set. So these gears right here, so far, these ones are going to go in the dunk tank. It's very easy to know which is which. Obviously, this one goes here with a massive shim. But if you haven't ever taken something like this apart, it's definitely a good idea to film yourself. That way you know like how things, I guess, essentially go back together. So I'll just kind of lay these parts out so you can see what's involved. Or if you have never seen the inside of a diff, here you go. This is what it looked like. Little O-rings, and they're not all the same too. So some of them have pins in place of E-clips, because the reason why they'll have a pin is because they don't have like a keyed or a slotted piece such as this right here. See how that's slotted? Look at that. Stuff came out of there. So they have a pin like on the back side instead of having a key or a slot like this. So next will be getting inside of the actual housing itself. We just disassembled essentially the ring gear. Those are all the pieces right here. So these are all the pieces that are associated with this particular side of the ring gear. 2 seals, a shim, an E-clip, your cup with the keyed shaft or whatever you want to call it, and then obviously, your ring gear itself. Then we've got the other half, which again has the same thing. It's got a cup, seals, but it has spider gears inside, and we're going to pick those out right now. CCXRC, what's going on, guy? How are you? So this should pop out. Ooh, you know what I'm wondering? I think I might be seeing something here. I'm going to try and pick this out, but that's interesting. Why is that locked into place other than possible torque? So I don't know if you can see what my eyes are seeing. And I'll try to point it out the best I can. But when you follow this shaft, right? See how the shaft is straight, goes from gear to gear? There's a little pocket right here that shaft slides down and into on both sides. What I am wondering, it literally seems like, and I don't think this is the way it would have happened, but it almost seems like it's twisted. Like it twisted inside the actual housing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my needle nose pliers and I'm going to give it a twist in the opposite direction and see if I can pull this out. That's literally, that looks like that is what happened. So now I'm going to take my 90-degree pick. I'm going to see if I can pick this out. Wow. That is in there. Very interesting. So there's actually a couple of different positions that this thing can actually go in. It looks like it's got 3 positions. Like it's like almost keyed. All right. Nah, I don't want to fill it with epoxy. I want to get all the junk out of there. What I'm going to do, Kevin, is I'm actually going to fill it with...
Where's the oh.
It's over by me. I'm going to actually fill it with a Merrimax gutter seal, which is a silicone. But I'm not the kind of person, I can't leave stuff alone. I'm literally probably just going to have to get brake clean in there to clear that out. Is this deformed? Almost looks like the case is deformed. I wonder if that's possible. Have I literally deformed the case from heat? Your funny car smokes tires instantly? Kevin, I want to see that. Let's get my little 45 pick in there, see if I can pick that out. Wow, that's in there, huh? It literally looks like the case is deformed. It really does. It looks like the case is deformed. That's insane. Man, I want to just pull this thing apart here. You can definitely feel it moving like it wants to pop out. All right, well, I guess it looks like what's going to happen. I'm going to do like Kevin Marino just said, and I'm going to leave it alone. I just don't feel like I want to destroy it. I could put this in a vise and really twist that gear out of there, but it looks like it's like, you can see it's clocked into position. Like it's locked. It's like locked down. That pin, you can see it's offset. And there's 3 positions on here. And these positions actually feel like there's no, I don't know, man. Did the torque actually twist this thing into position because, man, that's almost what it feels like. All right, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this with some carb clean. So I'll be back. I'm going to put all these parts in the dunk tank, get all these things cleared up, get all the junk and garbage out of there. The only thing that I'm worried about is I'm worried about that seal. It's on that backside, so I'll be as careful as I can. But I'll be back.
Do you have any of the phone holders?
Huh? What?
Any of the phone holders?
Phone holders? Yeah, the one that's... There is another one.
So I was just
Right there.
trying to.
And there's a tripod, too. The tripod is somewhere. You can use that tripod. If you need it. I'm not sure where the other tripod is. just took a little bit longer than normal to find my stuff here. But all our parts are nice and clean, got all the garbage out of there. Just gotta make sure you get all the junk out. At least this is how I just do it.
They thought you had fallen and couldn't get up, I think.
So all of our gears are nice and clean now. This is the stuff that I'm talking about right here that I use. This is literally just gutter seal. It stays permanently flexible, meaning if for some strange reason you ever wanted to take this stuff out, you could pick it out, but it's going to lock this differential up. It's like probably having like, I don't know, 50 million or 100 million as far as differential stuff. But this is all it is, just gutter seal. I swear by this stuff. This stuff, I use it, obviously in the construction industry, but I also use it for, sealing gutters and locking diffs and sealing, just sealing stuff. The stuff works awesome. Yeah.
Father.
Huh?
Father.
Yeah. What?
When you are done
Yeah.
with that,
Yep.
would you be able to put clear on my nails?
Yeah, of course I
and
can.
mess it up?
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks.
So you see, this is what's cool about me being a dad and having a daughter. She just asked me if I would clear her fingernails. Absolutely. She's my kid. I'll do anything for her.
Don't cut your finger off.
I don't plan on cutting my finger off. Don't do this on your counter either. Not a good idea. All right. All right. And obviously you got to just use the end,
Smell it?
the poker. Yeah, because sometimes tubes are open and some aren't. And then you just use the poker and you give it a little poke, which breaks the seal. And usually what I do is just make sure you clean the little end. And then we'll load it in our gun. And we're going to lock our diff. Now I just got to squeeze it, down and in. I cut, just a small little hole off. We're going to squeeze that down and in. Basically going to smear it, right over. And then, we'll reassemble it. And then eventually it will set up. And it will lock this, I feel it will lock this differential in a usable way. If I don't know if that makes any sense to you. It's just like, it's not, it is a permanent solution, but then again, it's also like not. I mean, even if you wanted to, you could just take paper towels and jam them in there. You know what I mean? Put sand in there. Do whatever you want. You want to lock your diff, you just lock it up. This is just the way that, I choose to do it for myself. So that's all. I just use like stuff that I think would actually work. Also, another thing to do is when you're done with a toothbrush, don't throw it away. Use your toothbrush to clean parts if you don't have like a brush, if you didn't, whatever. Just save that stuff, So we're going to get this thing all set and ready to go. We got all our screws right here. I'm going to just, I'm going to assemble this gear right now. Putting the seals in it. Just make it so that it's ready, to go when I'm ready to go. So your little front and back seals. Now, normally, what I do on these, right here, I'm kind of doing it backwards because I'm not paying attention. So I did clean all this stuff out, right? So I'll pick these seals back out. But I use an assembly lube when I'm, reinstalling stuff like this. Now, just for these seals, that's the only reason why I'm using this, is just for the seals, that's it. And, technically for the shaft that's actually driving through it. So that way, at least this area right here is going to have lubrication for that shaft. So now we'll put our little O-rings in there, the little sealed O-rings, front and back. We get our little drive cup. We'll install our drive cup into there, just like that. See? Perfect. Now I take our little gear. We'll stick that on. Like that. Mint. Not that this is like something that, you know, technically moves, but because we're going to lock it up, it's just what I do. It's just a habit. So now I'm going to take our little E-clip. Very carefully put our E-clip into place and hopefully not shoot it across the room. You shoot it across the room, you know, usually you're just not going to find it. So I like to kind of put like a finger over it, snap it into place just in case. Sometimes they're really hard, especially when you're like picking them off. They just go fly and they just take off. So, and they're gone forever. So now this is all set, ready to go, ready to put it back together. Now I'm just going to take that Miramax. I'm just going to fill it. Should be getting to the end. Did I pop it? Almost seems like it didn't pop. Might not have popped it. You know what? I don't think that was long enough to poke that thing. Let's check this out real quick. Seems like it's not popping. Yeah, you know what? I don't think it was long enough. Let's go try this again. There we go. Now I got it. I think it popped that time. Try it again. Yeah, it's not popping. I gotta get something long enough to actually pop a hole in this. Now it's popped. See on the end? And this is another one of those products that, like any kind of product, make sure you're wearing gloves so you don't get this, you know, stuff on your hands. I thought somewhere on this it had like skull and crossbones or something. Do not eat. Do not drink. Do not treat it like it's candy. There we go. Now that's going to flow. There we go. Boom. Just like that. This stuff is probably like having... Look at that. Got everywhere. Just be careful. That's kind of how you want it to be. Just like that. Now what I want to do is I want to make sure that I actually get it down into the gears. So I'm going to kind of press it down and in like how you normally would. And that should be it. Because now once we put that top gear in place, this whole thing is going to be sealed up nice. It's going to get that edge off of there. Just like that. Take our gear here, our ring gear. Install that into place. We'll find our holes, which is right there. Holes are located. And go ahead and put our screws back in. Ronnie, hey, what did it say? It'll seal it. Right. not that it matters. Yeah, you won't need any gaskets now. But like I was saying, I think this stuff kind of acts like 100 million or something like that. I think I might have this clocked wrong. Kind of almost feels like I got it clocked wrong. I just have to rotate it. Just gotta turn it just like that. Locate the holes. 1, 2, 3. Now it's clocked right. 1. 2, 3, 4. God, my eyes, I can't see. That's better. These screws are so damn tiny. Ronnie Willits, what? You were so shocked when you tore apart your Red Cat Lightning. Decently strong parts. Right. Dude, I was very surprised. This is just a Red Cat Tornado. So I really wasn't expecting to see what I saw when I opened this thing up. Bearings like are meant, I mean, I've beyond like what's on screen. So that's something else that people don't realize is that, you know, I don't drive these things just only on screen, you know what I mean? So they get a lot of usage just beyond that. Do I try to record things? Sure, because sometimes, you know, sometimes you'll get some pretty cool footage that you can use for something, you know? So there we go. That thing is locked down. So I'm just going to let this thing set up. Feels nice. All right, cool. Kind of ready to rip. Obviously now all it needs to do is just give it time to set up. It'll take a little bit longer to set up only because there is no air getting to it, but this stuff will set up. So we'll get a clean slate here. Get rid of this junk. Get a fresh piece of silver thrown into position here. And I need my grease. Hey, Sam. Remember that grease that was in the bathroom? Do you know where that is? Downstairs. All right, thank you. All right. Got the grease here. When I pack my diffs, this is literally just a synthetic brake caliper grease. Stuff works awesome. All right. So install the outer bearing. Well, actually, install the inner bearing first. What I should do is do it the right way. Take the bearing out. Stick it on the needle nose plier first, then jam it in there. And then usually what I'll do is I'll take a little bit of that assembly lube there. I'll put a drop right in there. Let it roll around in that case, just like that. Then I will install the outer bearing. Good to go. That way there's like a little bit of oil in between the two bearing surfaces. So it's always been my theory, and it kind of seems to work. So it's the only reason why I do it. All right. Sometimes you gotta like authorize foul language. I'll see you next Tuesday. So there was that one little shim that was on that side. The larger shim that was on this side. these two little shims, one for each side of the bearing. The larger shim was actually for what side? I forget. So this is the other part of like trying to remember stuff. What I can't remember right now by memory was what side was this diff on? Because you can either go that way or you can go that way. Oh my gosh. By motor rotation, obviously, I just need to know which way the motor is spinning, and then I'll be able to figure it out. Well, anyways. You shim your pinion gear too? Yeah, only if it's got one. If it had a shim that was already in there. That's what this shim is for right here. See? Little tiny shim. So obviously this is going to slide inside of that. Need a shim in place of that. We'll do that. It's crazy how free spinning this is. This thing spins mint. Very happy with this. Very happy with how they made this thing. Alright. So now I'm going to take that little shim. I'm going to jam that in there. Did that fall into place? Did that go into place? Yeah, it looks like it did. Take our little gear, stick that on there, just like that. Take our little micro E-clip. It's probably going to get lost forever. Yeah, just drop it in there. I have no idea where it went. It's right there. Try this again. Should stick it on this end piece here, but it's, there we go. Kind of, sort of. Put it into place. Get off. I think I need a new pair of glasses here. I can't see it. Now that should get it right into place. Ah! It dropped back down. This is where like this kind of stuff just drives me insane because just how small everything is. I'm just used to a slightly bigger scale of parts. Come on, get on there. There we go. I think that's almost close. Ah, come on, get on there. Oh! That just launched onto the floor. See what I'm saying? Gone. Almost gone forever, but there it is. Fortunately, I heard it hit. Oh my goodness. We'll try it again. We'll need little micro fingers here. It's in its spot. Let's see if I can just get it in there. And Hey, look at that. So there we go. Sweet. Good to go. Nice and smooth, just the way it should be. Thing of beauty right there. I'm going to put just a little drop of oil on there. Let it kind of go down in there and let it marinate. Beautiful. There we go. Oh, that's nice. Look at that sloshing in there. Thing of beauty right there. All right, so which side was the thing here? So this is the way it goes into the vehicle, something like that. And I might actually have a pinion that I can throw on this thing. I've got a blackout. I just got to see what the pinion is. Pretty sure that the blackout parts are the same exact as this, so that should not be an issue. Put a little there. Make things nice and smooth. Dang. You're on the same time zone as what? Never noticed what? What time? It's 11:25 right now.
I have a random question.
Yeah. What's your question?
Do you know what way the front of our house is oriented?
Which way it is? No, just get out your phone and use the compass.
Okay. I didn't know if you knew.
No. Do I know which way, like, it should be, like, which way is north, south, east, west? Nah. Just use your compass.
Well,
You can gauge it by the sun. You just can't see the sun right now. All right, so I have to actually grab a battery pack now because I cannot remember which way this rotates. Like I said, open and honest. I should have remembered, but we're on Wi-Fi.
mm-hmm. You already know it messes with connection.
What's that?
You already know it messes with connection.
The wind messes. So it goes that way, which rotates this way. So that means in order to do that, we want it to be on that side. Hey, there we go. See, that's how easy it was. Give it just a little touch of oil. Just like that. Perfect. Flop it over. Put a little bit of oil here. Put our seemingly thicker shim bearing. Mint. Now I'm going to take our grease. I'm just going to take a blob of grease and just jam it in there for now. Just like that. Make sure it's settled down in there. Listen to that grease. Sounds like grit, but it's not. It's literally the grease. And that's perfect. That is just the right amount of grease on there. We can take our cap, make sure we orient that lower screw facing down. Pop our cap on. Grab our little countersink screw there. Countersink screw, whatever the heck it is. Flat screw. Crank this into place. All right. Well, apparently the internet is telling me to stop because it keeps buffering. Trying again. All right, I just got to end the stream where it is. It says I'm live again, but it just keeps dumping out. So I don't know what's going on. But anyways, hopefully you enjoyed this COVID and coffee. Obviously, we can't even finish. Why? It's not like we're having a hurricane. So if you like this COVID and coffee, like I always say, you know what to do. This was episode 15. We were just basically locking up the differential in the rear so that we could continue to rip it. So like I usually say, just get out there and rip it. Thank all these workers. It's very important that they are doing their job. Just take a couple of minutes to thank them, you know. And that goes from everyone from the live stream just keeps dumping out. I have no idea. It's like 5th time I had to try to reconnect. So 2.5 hours. 2.5 hour live stream. I'm out because obviously this live stream just keeps dumping out. I don't know what's going on. Are you doing something to my internet? Are your computer hogging up on my internet?
Actually, I'm only using my phone.
Oh, nice. All right, so I'm out. Everybody, thank you for coming to that stream. If you haven't given it a thumbs up, please go ahead and do that. Obviously, I didn't get to very many comments. Looks like Ronnie Willis just said. So anyways, yeah, this is DragBug. DragBug is actually in pieces right now. We will get it back. Hey, you're killing me. What are you doing? DragBug is in pieces. We're going to get it put together. Obviously, got to let that kind of set up, and we're out. So anyways, thanks for watching this episode from RC Guy Garage, and just get out there, and like I said,